Man, Krystal, like this is so rich, and I'm just sitting here processing because when you said earlier, I want to go back to something you said, man, we get to see this on the other side. Because I could tell you when we first started 10 years ago, because it was 2015, 10 years ago, and this is 2025, and to see where I'm at, I just want to say publicly, thank you.
To God be the glory. I
Like,
never knew we would get. I knew what you would be, but here's the thing: your gift don't work for you. So I didn't see me. I saw you.
you know, me, because I didn't know I was me.
Mm.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I had no clue. I can see myself now, even when I met you, just as lost as I was and just as lost as I want to be. Just not knowing, searching, but not knowing what I'm looking for. Lost, but not knowing that I need to be found. Confused, but wanting to be understood. Just all of the things. And all I kept asking for, I do remember this prayer that I prayed before I met you. I kept saying, God, send me a man.
Mm.
And he sent me you. And he sent you because there was parts of me needed to be healed with my mother wounds. Just Heal with Dr. J is going to be a space where we foster healing conversations, conversations that are life enriching, conversations that are going to provoke thought, that's going to provoke change, and also provide insight. And so that's what I'm excited about. All right, welcome back to another episode of Just Heal with Dr. J. I am your host, Dr. J, and I am excited because this is the episode that my producer, CJ, has been waiting for. And there are some people who watched the live that I did with Krystal. They're like, man, when you going to have Krystal on? Well, guess what, people? She is here.
We're here.
Miss Krystal Shanell is a close dear friend of mine. She was my first manager. And so I'm excited about this episode because we're getting into all things healing. We're talking about managing me. We're talking about how it got started. And I just want Krystal to share her journey of not only just about managing and working with some of the, top artists in the music world, but just also all the things that she does managing being a mom, businesswoman, and a woman. So all those three elements that we're going to get to talk to. Krystal, what's up? Welcome to the healing community.
What's up? So we here.
And here.
Don't start.
When we get together, man, it is always a great time. Listen, it's so good to see you, Six.
When was the last time we see each other?
Probably last time you was giving me a word. 9 times out of 10. Okay. Or telling me a word here.
I digress.
Yeah. So, well, welcome to the healing community.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. Yeah.
We've been talking about doing this episode for years. Like we did
before there was even a podcast.
Before it was a podcast.
Yeah.
We was like, yo, we got to do a live. And then was like, oh, the live went off. But now it has somewhere to live because the stuff you even shared on that live, yeah. I was like, people need to hear this information.
Y'all sure you want to talk about
So, yes. So, you are all things management, business, and all things, with not just Trade the Truth as an artist. You work with me, you work with so many other artists behind the scene. How did you get to, being who you are and working with these artists? I know I was like the first person you worked with that wasn't an artist.
You was close, though. You was close.
I was close.
So you was in the mix.
Yeah. So how did you get into this space?
So by trade, I'm an accountant. Started in the oil field, moved to Houston, ended up with you. I don't know how. Just kind of stumbled upon each other. Honestly, I feel like it sounds like I'm a manager overall, and I do business and I do management. That's what I'm degreed in. But I think it's more of the development of people and purpose. That's the gist of what I do that most people don't see. So yes, I handle a lot of business. Yes, I handle accounting. Yes, I do payroll. Yes, I get to make bookings, but the most of what I do is help people operate in the level of who God called them to be. That's loaded. Heavy.
Oh,
It's
like
kind of like a trick, right? Because God says, okay, I want you, you say, Krystal, I want to work with you. Or somebody says, hey, I love the way you do business. Come and be my business. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to tackle your business. And then you realize that this person is not who they profess to be. Like God has more for them to actually do. And then he's like, okay, this is what I want you to do with this person. But he always tricks me initially, like help them with their business. But it's like, no, that person's a prophet. That person's an apostle. This person's a pastor. Walk them through that. And I'd be like, why me?
why you
I don't know. I'm still asking that.
still asking that question?
Mhm.
When you ask that question, what is the answer that you get?
Because I called you to.
And when you hear that, how does that make you feel, honestly?
How do I hang up the phone? I don't want that call. Truthfully. I sit and I watch people run towards a call that I would never, like, if I had to choose it, I wouldn't have chose it. So it kind of scares me when people run and say, this is who I am spiritually, or this is my title, because I think people miss the part that the hits that we actually take to be that person. I don't want that. I never signed up for that. I would give it back. And all the people who say that that's what they are and they really not that, I would like to give it to them because they walking in fakeness. But hey, you know.
Mm.
But I think I feel like I've understood that my call is non-negotiable. So it's better to obey in the call than to get drugged because I've gotten drugged a couple times by God. And I'm cool on that. So I just obey now.
You know, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about how we first met,
Mhm.
and because I didn't want to.
Mhm.
And we often talk about when you're really called and anointed to do something,
Mhm.
you're not running to do it because you understand what comes with it.
Yeah.
And then you understand the things that are not talked about that comes with it
Mhm.
that no one, cares to even discuss
Yeah.
openly. So it's almost like you get in it and you like, oh dang, y'all dealing with all of this.
Mhm.
That's why, like, you hit that thing on the head. Be careful of people who are telling you who they are.
Yeah. I wouldn't like I don't I'm Krystal. I don't run by my titles, even my degrees. It's for me, like, of course, if I'm applying for a job or something, they're relevant. But I prefer to, and I think sometimes we misunderstand. It's like, oh, don't shrink yourself to. No, I know exactly who I am. I'm a big dog. I know that. But the price I've paid to be here still stings a little bit. So when you make it to a certain level of success, you almost can't enjoy it because you're tired. You've been running, you've been fighting, you've been warring, and it's like, okay, I mean, I'm here, yay, but I'm tired, and there's no finish line. You're continuing to do the work day after day, so you're having to process how you feel, what you think, and how to balance all of that. So people that tell me like this is who I am, and I'm excited about a certain title, I'm like, y'all weird, but hey, you know.
Very weird because people who are running to get to a stage and a platform really scares me.
It's so much light, and the light brings heat. Why do I want to sweat? Like that's not, something that I want to do. So when you watch them walk to that, and it's such a great rise, but then the fall is just as great when you're running towards something, especially the people that claim that they're there and they're not called to it because there's no glory to keep you there. There's no character development because yes, I have a title or yes, I'm this person, but if I don't work on me, I'm not going to stay there. I don't have the character to stay there. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have none of these things that keeps me in that place. So I'm constantly trying to fight to be in a space, and I prefer to be out the way and behind closed doors.
Yeah, which is why I always say I would rather be in Portugal somewhere
Yes.
and not doing what
Quiet.
quietly and not caring
Mhm.
about what others feel. Meaning, like, not how you feel about me, but how you feel from what you've gone through.
Yeah.
And I have to now be open to
Correct.
allow him to work through me so you can get your healing to
And then
help
you go
you.
do what you want to do while I'm still struggling with what you left me.
Oh my God. I was so ready for this episode as much as CJ was. But talk about character development and what you do. Why is that so important?
It's kind of like when you talk about an artist, right? Like a lot of artists are really great. A lot of hairstylists are really great. But if you're a stylist or you're a business person, but you don't have good customer service, then your business only can go so high, and then you plateau. If you're an artist and you get in front of the camera and they ask you the wrong thing, you can be in this culture canceled because you said something that I'm from Louisiana, so a lot of words that we may say can get me canceled, but it doesn't mean what other people would think that it means. So it's like developing myself to be able to continue to grow. But then I think the biggest piece is even to figure out what's wrong with me before I even develop those pieces. Because you got to be aware self-wise of what's wrong with you, what you've dealt with, what are the root issues that you have, and how to begin dealing with them. Or else, you're just kind of running in circles chasing your tail.
Mm.
But it's super important because I think I always tell my kids like accountability seems harsh in the beginning because somebody's telling you something about yourself, but it's the very thing that'll help you build, and you won't be able to be stopped when you get to the top because you're accountable to self, and it helps you to be successful.
Mm. Because the cess will kill you if you're underdeveloping your
Most
character.
definitely. It'll hit you like a ton of bricks. It's like running into a brick wall essentially because we don't know. And I think the other thing is you don't really fully know. No one says like this is what success is.
Yes,
So you're
yes.
constantly chasing a feeling, and I don't trust my feelings. They're dangerous. They're scary. I can be from 0 to 100. So if I'm trusting my feelings, we go all lose. So when I do business, I don't do it with emotion. I don't do it with feelings. I don't come to the table. It's just like spiritually wise, my kingdom gift is the prophet. But people misunderstand that like, oh, she's mean. It's just like, no, if God tells me to tell you something, I'm saying what he said. I don't put my emotion in it because God doesn't have emotions. So why am I coming with my emotions to the table for your word? It's like it has to process through me, but it's not my word. So I can't process it with emotions. I can't do business. If I'm trying to get you a contract or get you built or get your structure built for your contract or your business, I can't do it with how I feel because we all gonna lose. Because my emotions, they be all over the place. I have to manage that so we can win successfully.
As a woman, and a woman who works with so many men, and a woman who is understanding of her emotions, but also not allowing the emotions to be the driver in decision. Is that something that you had to work at, or is that something that you just kind of was? What was that like for you?
On a Myers-Briggs, I'm only 13% emotions. So that's kind of my baseline. But yes, dealing with men because I have um a tough relationship with my father. Early on, he was an addict and he got better, and I still kind of struggle with those pieces. So working with a lot of men could be very tough because when I see traits of what I dealt with my father, it'll sting. It's kind of like a trauma space. So sometimes if something hits, it's like you get a different version of me that I've had to really manage, especially dealing with who I'm currently dealing with because he's alpha. So it's like his alpha and my alpha used to, and having to take a space where I was submitting not to the person but to the space. And that's what I learned the biggest piece.
Ooh.
Is that, sometimes when a man is like, you're like, who you talking to? Like, you don't really want no smoke with me because I'm not that girl. Like, I'm not weak. And it was always me early on having to prove that I wasn't weak until God just really started dealing with me like, you don't have to defend yourself. What are you doing? You're here to help. I can't use you like this. Like you are disrespect to my anointing when you're doing this type of behavior. When you just chill, just relax. And I didn't get that because I always felt like I had to keep hitting something. But when I learned that I'm not submitting to the person because men and women are flawed. I'm submitting to this assignment that God put me in because what I need from God, when we worked together, you could never give me what I needed. It wasn't the dollars that you were paying me. I needed God to move because I was walking in that assignment to help you become this person, someone you didn't even see.
Didn't even see it, didn't even know it
At all.
I didn't know I was me. Bishop Jakes preached a message called I Didn't Know I Was Me that was so powerful. And it's the message is about what you just said is not only walking with people who didn't know that they were them, but also you walking with me when I didn't know I was me.
That's tough. Because you have to get outside yourself. I have to be super patient and loving with who God showed me that you were before you even, because we had some moments where I'm
Oh yeah,
like,
we had some
what
moments.
you doing? And what I had to learn prophetically is that you're in the future. So you were in the present, but what God was showing me about you was in the future. So it's like I had to tone that back a bit. So I identify that, okay, wait, he doesn't know who he is. It's my job to help him walk out. When you saw a former player who was going to school, trying to figure out the therapy thing. I saw this. I saw a king. I saw a prophet. I saw a person who was going to change generational lines for other people. But it's like the bridge to get there, I had to control me so that you could get to where you needed to be. That's tough though. Because there was some tough moments.
And it's tough because I feel like I'm walking with somebody like that right now.
But that's how the gift is.
That's
I pull you up and then you go get somebody else.
because I'm pulling him up.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's and sometimes like you don't never get to see, and God has blessed us to where we could see the other side, but that's not always the case.
No, it is not. It is not six. It is not always the case, man.
That's the tough part. That's tough. But I'm so proud. I'm proud because your journey was hard. People see this. They see this camera, they see all of this stuff, but the nights that you cried, the time that you didn't know who you was, or when the money was funny because God had to show you how to manage certain things and you couldn't see what I saw, it was tough to get you like, no, wait, come on, keep going, we're going to get there, and all of these things. But I'm super proud that you didn't stop because there were moments that you could have and you didn't.
I'm sitting there thinking about when I was in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta because we gonna be open. This is my dog. I moved to Atlanta. She didn't say anything. She was just like, okay, go. I get to Atlanta. When I tell you God whipped my behind, I'm talking about whipped my behind. I'm talking about every stone I turned over. Nobody would hire me. Nobody would work with me. It was like I was like had a disease, a sickness that was just like it was like because it was almost like nobody would touch me.
Yeah.
And I remember you being on the phone with you one day, and you go, do you really think you were supposed to go to Atlanta?
Not my accent.
I'm doing it in her accent. And I'm like, she said, you really, you asked me, you said, did God tell you to go to Atlanta?
Yeah.
And I remember pausing and was like, I didn't know. And I think God said go to Atlanta because when you are not hearing clearly, you can create the voice in your mind and call it God if you're not careful.
Definitely.
And we don't talk about that enough because we are so engulfed into what we wanted. And I wanted to go to Atlanta because I thought I needed to change environments. And I thought I needed to be in a new space. And what God did was use that space to say, I tell you what, good brother, I'm going to put you in this cave and I'm going to get you to surrender. Mm-hmm. Because that was what I was running from in Houston. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to surrender.
That was your Romans 8:28. And I think sometimes we think, okay, I'm out of God's will, so he not going to move. I'm just going to die here. It's like, no, he going to use that as your space. And I was like, why are you going to Atlanta? What are you going to do over there?
And, and here's what's crazy is that when you're off course, you're really on course.
Yeah, because he'll make it good even when it's bad. He's that awesome.
And he made it bad. God, he made it bad. Yeah. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. I had gotten a place in Smyrna, Georgia, right off of 285. Beautiful place. And I couldn't afford to pay the rent. And when I look back at it today, it wasn't much. It was like maybe $1,100. And it was like a huge space. And I'm just like, God, why can't I pay this rent? And it wasn't like I wasn't making money, but nothing was shaking for me. Nothing was coming.
Because you're trying to do it on your own. Yeah, we always do that. We're smart, we're educated. And it's like, okay, well, I can just go get a job. I'm going to pay my bills. And what he wants to know is, are you going to trust me to be your provider? That's the big thing, is like, will we surrender? And when you have that non-negotiable call, everything, I call it, there is no democracy here. It's one of those things like, hey, you have to depend on me for everything. And when you're independent, that's hard. That I'm gonna call you and say, well, I gotta live? Like, for what? But he's saying, I want you on a certain trajectory of where I'm taking you, because your gift is not for you. Your gift was for them, for the people that he was calling you to. But you was trying to live your life for you. And he's like, yeah, no, I didn't birth you for that.
And I remember you telling me, you can't give it back. It's
no, I've been trying for 42 years.
And you kept saying it's non-negotiable. And I'm just like, dude, why? Mm-hmm. Because that heaviness and that just that pull. Mm-hmm. Because even when you're running, you feel like, man, I don't think I didn't ever feel like I was getting away, but I did feel like there was some like kind of moment to breathe. And then
it's a facade.
It's a facade. It's almost like being in the desert and there's like, oh, there's water. And it's like, oh no, this is a mirage. Mm-hmm. And it's like I kept going back and forth and hitting my head time after time after time after time. And when my healing started is when I fully surrendered.
Mm-hmm. And it's a process. Because I think sometimes people think like there's this magical moment with palm trees where you're just like, oh, I surrender. And you're like in the Garden of Eden. But surrendering is constant. It's almost every season, because as you continue to grow from higher heights to deeper depths, there's another level of surrender required.
Another level of surrender.
Like, okay, when does it end?
Do you feel like you're still in the process of surrendering?
Oh, yes. I'm surrendering right now. Just being here to say yes to you, because you know me. I'm a background player. I don't want nobody to see me. I'm not that person. I don't need to be seen. I have 3,000 followers. I'm not trying to dance on TikTok. That's not me. I don't do none of that. I'm out the way. I just want my invoices paid, and I want to make it to heaven, and I want my children to be successful. That is it. That's all I want. Yeah. But some way God got some other plans, and He's just telling me as we go, and I'm just trying to obey. That's it.
Listen, that's my thought process constantly. Like, I love that I get to do this. Mm-hmm. And CJ, he checks on me every day. Like, there's days where I'm literally like, why are you texting me?
Those cocoon days.
Because there are days that it's not that I don't want to be bothered, but him texting me is also a reminder of we're building something.
Yeah.
And it's also a reminder that, hey, I'm checking in, because he'll check in like tomorrow, because we work, all day today. He'll check in and say, how are you feeling? How you doing? Because of the pour. But then I'm reminded, like, man, this thing ain't going nowhere.
Every day. I talk to Trey every day. And someday, and his call is so heavy, and he's just starting to realize that. And we've been dealing with this for 8 years. This man, just like you, he had no idea. So every day he called me, I'm like, oh, we still at it. I've been looking for the exit for 8 years. Because the weight to carry someone like yourself, someone like him, with a heavy anointing, it hit me before it hit you. And that's what people don't know. Like, you're where you are and you're heavy. When I'm carrying you, it hits me first. So I'm carrying it for both of us. Then I have 5 kids that I'm carrying it for. So it's like the heavy weight is in the front, but the big weight is in the back, because I have to make sure we both don't fall when I'm assigned to you. Because if I fall, you dead. And that's why God stay on you, because he's making sure that the person you're called to carry don't fall. Because every time I pour into somebody, imagine being able to carry somebody that got a heavier weight than you. That's why a lot of mentors become Sauls. because a lot of times you're covering a David who's going to be a better king than you. Imagine being able to see somebody and you not healed, and God tells somebody to go mentor, and the heart shift. I didn't had a Saul mentor before. So it's like you have to balance that, because sometimes I could get mad at you if I ain't right with my heart, because you didn't ask me to help you, God did. I can't mistreat you because of what he told me to do. And many times God has checked me, my socks off. Like, what are you doing? You looking for this person to help you. I told you to serve. I told you to go in. So what you mad at them for? That's on me. You got a problem, take it up with me. Don't take it up on them. So when the phone will ring and it's like, hey, we got this and that to do today, I'm looking at the phone and God's like, check your attitude. Get your spirit in order. I'm keeping you. So did you not come to me this morning to lay down that burden at the altar, or you want to carry it and then be mad at that person? What you gonna do?
I'm just gonna pause for a second and just let that just marinate, because David and I talked about this, and the weight of what you are carrying, and I'm loving that you sharing it, because you're also sharing it from the perspective of a female, and we talked a lot about dating, and talked a lot about, you know, what is it like to be with somebody that has like a strong calling, a mandate. And I've always seen myself as having the three M's, right? The mandate, the mantle, and the mission. And all three of them carry their own weight for what they represent.
Yeah.
Because the mission is to be carried out, for the people. The mandate is this is non-negotiable. And then the mantle is I'm not, Lord, I'm not saying calling it a yoke, but the mantle is almost like this cloak of just like has just set on you. And no matter how much you do this and try to adjust it, that thing ain't going nowhere. And I'm saying, and I'm saying to God, hey man, I'm not Elijah.
That part.
Elijah was like, hey, I want a double portion. I'm like, what are you, like, even when I read that, I was like, what was you on, bro?
What was he thinking?
Like, what was you thinking? And so my battles at times is not trying to, negotiate out of it, but it's constantly trying to sort of find understanding in it.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like yourself, it's like, I mean, it's a blessing to be a blessing right now in this season, because
For sure.
to be in a season where I know what lack feels like. I know what it's like to go speak and there is no invoice, and they're like shaking your hand and you like, well, I thought y'all was gonna give me some. God bless you, man. We appreciate you. Like, I know what that's like. And I know what it's like for somebody to feed you and to say thank you. And so to be in this season, I'm grateful. But I only think about what you just said. I don't have kids, so for me, it's like, man, I just want to get to heaven and make sure, you know what I'm saying, things are good and I have the essentials. Because even for people like us to be blessed, it's not to be somebody who's flexing.
Yeah.
It's like the blessing is also to do more with what we've been given.
Yeah.
So that's usually my warfare. It's like every day, like for the past 3 weeks, when we got back from Canada, it was just like, man, I literally woke up every day and said, God, man, thank you. And I said, because I know it's you that's keeping me going.
I've had them days.
Like it's like I'm just in my closet, just like, man, dude, it's you. Because the human, the man in me is like, man, you can have this.
Yeah. And people be coveting that. That's the crazy part. People will covet what you carry, not knowing that you barely standing up. You pretty much like a hunchback of Notre Dame, trying to carry the weight of what's on you.
Yeah. And two, in this healing space, because not only are we being healed, we're also leading people to their healing.
Yes.
And then we're leading people because now that I'm where you were with me, I get it. It's like leading people to their healing, and you're like, hey, there's freedom on the other side. Waiting for them to choose the healing, and God is saying, not now.
Yeah. Now we can't get to it.
No, I need to teach them this.
Yeah.
I need to teach them that. So, what has your healing journey been for you? Like, who was that person when you discovered who you were? Who was the person that saw who Krystal was before Krystal became Krystal?
Ironically, I'm a lady that my mom used to work with. My parents went to her to basically complain that I was this crazy person or hard to deal with, shall I say. And she couldn't understand from her perspective how parents could have such an issue with their child. I'll leave it at that. And so she felt the need to get to know me because she, as a mom, she couldn't, and a healer of hearts. That's her assignment. She have a pastoral heart. She couldn't understand how somebody could do their child like that, right? And so her and I got to know each other, and she would call me every day, every day. Are you okay, baby? I'm praying for you. And I'd be like, girl, I'm with this 5 piece of chocolate right now. I hit you back, boo. I got something going on. She would call me every day until one day I was having a bad day and we started talking. God used her. I had a stony heart. I would have never been able to be used by God. I was so angry. Things happened to me in my childhood that I just couldn't get over. The people that were supposed to protect me didn't. Grew up in church and getting preached on and all these things with, they say they love God because I initially saw the church as a representation of God. So I'm like, yeah, if that's what God is, I'm cool on that, you know. And so I get to a space where every day my grandmother loved me and she loved God, but she didn't know God like my spiritual mom did. So when she was doing it, it was just like God was using her in human form. And each time she would give me things to work on. And at the time, I had recently had bilateral pulmonary embolism, so I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't move. Back then, I used to like to go outside. The clubs had smoke in it, so I couldn't go out no more. I couldn't drink because I was on blood thinners. So God just started using her to deal with me, and she just started telling me who I was. And I'm like, bro, yeah, I'm good on that. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll go to church, I'll pay my tithes, but all of that. So she walked me through this process, and I started to understand. And God, because I was at a still place, He started talking to me. And he started telling me that there was people that needed me. I'm like, who need me? I'm broken. I'm battered. I'm bruised. I got these kids and nobody paying child support. Like, what's happening right now? And the more I kept walking it, the more I realized that it was bigger than me. And I just had to accept it. So by the time I met you, I was fast forward to Houston, came to Houston for a job, got fired, started being an entrepreneur, not fired, but laid off, but started being an entrepreneur, and I just felt lost. So I met you, it was like I was looking at me when I was then. And I knew that outside of her, she helped me with my heart, but my head was another story. My mind was another story. My mouth was another story. So by the time I met you, I was like, man, if I had a me for me, I would have been in a better spot earlier. And so it was easy for me to submit because there was some things I needed God to do. And I was like, okay, well, if I do this, you do this. I'm gonna do what you want me to do, but I need you to do this. So I was over there bargaining with the Lord, shooting a little dice. That's how me and him move. So, and I don't think I'm healed all the way. I enjoy the journey now. I think I've in the time that we worked together and the time that I was a lot harder when we were together.
Right.
Savage. Untamed gorilla.
Savage.
A little bit of spiritual, a little bit of roughness, roughneck, whatever. But now I just feel like at peace. I've accepted, me and God still be talking about when He send me certain people, I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm not, I don't. Go bring them to somebody else. But we negotiate. But right now I feel like I'm at peace. I feel like I've walked into my womanhood. I've successfully raised 4 of my 5 kids. I got my 12-year-old still. So I'm at peace. Like, there's just so much. So when I see this, I'm like, when you asked me to come here today, it was like, okay, I guess it's time. So it was like another level of submitting and surrendering to where we are and where we walked. So I'm here.
And you're here in such a way that it's loud for you.
Mm. Okay.
Because for you, you like silence.
I do.
Which is why working behind the scenes is perfect, because it's silent back there. Because when you come out front, it gets loud.
Mm. And I don't like it loud.
It gets loud. And what I love that women will get to see is that surrendering looks different in so many different facets.
Yeah.
Because you have not only the surrender to God, but you have the surrender to your purpose, your calling, your assignment. You have the surrender to your life, your children, and just to have the surrender where you can now say, I'm at peace with what it's costing me.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at too. I'm at a place where, okay, it's gonna cost me. Mm-hmm. And I know it's probably not gonna be what I want to pay, but I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. Because I think where we are now, we're at a place where we understand it's not leaving us.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we can do to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And I think the more I've leaned into what God has called me to do, the more healing comes through me for others. Mm-hmm. And then I've just accepted, like, I want to be used.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like what I've identified is it's costing me something, but when God give me the change back, it's more than what I put in. Once I finally just stopped trying to control the situation, and I'm like, okay, it's costing me this, but then he's like, open your hand. And as a person who went through a lot of trauma, I keep my fist ball. I used to do that, tighten my jaw a lot, my shoulders. When I finally started opening my hand and he would release things to me, it was like, whoa, wait a minute. I put in $50 and he gave me back $2,500. This time I paid $2,500, he gave me back $250. I was like, okay, this is what you've been trying to. And he's like, duh, I've been trying to tell you this whole time. If you just let go and trust me, there is something in it for you. Because at first, I used to see me getting used like it's all about the person I'm pouring into. But because I was a serial sower, I didn't know how to reap. I grew up in a time back in the day when we was in church. It was always about being a cheerful giver, give, give, give. I was never taught how to reap. I didn't know how to receive. I felt like if I received, I was less than. So I was always giving. And then when people would use me, I was mad at them. But it was like, you giving them when it's really a season to receive. So I was never balanced. But now that I'm balanced, I see like there's a big reward for me by doing what he's telling me to do. So as I'm settling in the call, there's just so much more reverence, peace, grace. I love it here. Like nothing really bothers me. I mean, within reason. Yeah. Every now and then I get a little ratchet, but it's small potatoes compared to my big sack I used to carry on the truck. I had some sacks. But yeah, God be doing this big one. He really do.
And I can feel it because I think we're both there. We're both at a place where in our reaping, we're also having rest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't have much of that. When we met, man, it was just like such warfare, and it was just such weight to where I just felt like, man, I could never get any rest. Mm-hmm. Like I would go to sleep at night, but I just woke up feeling tired. Mm-hmm. I woke up feeling even more worn down. I woke up feeling like, man, dude, will I ever catch a break? Because I was just looking just to catch a break. Because I remember one season of warfare where it was just like I was tormented in my sleep. It was just constantly. And even to be in a season like that I'm in now, and God is saying, this is where I wanted you to get to, is when you took your hands off and let me put my hands on, I'm showing you what I do when you let go.
Yeah.
And true healing can't take place until we let go of who we think we need to be.
And who we think we are.
And who exactly. And who we think we are. And God is saying, that is not who you are. I want to show you who you were called to be.
Right.
And part of that is allowing yourself to be molded. I never forget going through what I went through in 2018. And I just remember God telling me, do not get off this wheel. Let me keep shaping you. Let me keep molding you. Let me keep developing you. Let me keep forming you. Let me keep pressing in. Let me keep pressing in. Because when that potter is pressing in on that clay, he's not hurting it. It feels like
it's a stretch.
It's stretching. And it's necessary because if you're going to endure and have sustainability, you got to let him press in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the squeezing of the oil. But then I think too, like when we hold on, we get drugged. So it's like if you just let go, it's gonna keep moving, but you're not gonna be dragging with it. That's the big issue. I was drugged for a long time. Out of control, just control. Ego, pride, and control. Control was my protection mechanism. I thought I was doing what was right for me because I was protecting myself. And I realized like my dad's the biggest protector of them all. So why can't, but again, I didn't have much trust for people. So it was hard for me to trust God in full. I said I did. But I think for me, like when my baby was born and he had open heart surgery at 2 months, you only can trust God. Like when God take you through a health thing, it's like it's either you gonna surrender or this gonna happen. That was when I started realizing God could do whatever. If these people saying, okay, well, if you don't, your child could have a stent, 2 stents, and then he'll have 5 surgeries by the time he's 10. I'm like, yeah, no, okay. What you need me to do, God? Because we're not gonna do all that. Like I'm tired. So I saw the power of healing, and that was when I knew, okay, at that point could nobody tell me how this man do things. So I'm like, all right. Now I'm like David when he went to fight Goliath, he reminded himself of the bears and the tigers and all that and the lions. That's what I do. I'm like, okay, when we went through this happened. So I have to remind myself constantly now when I go through things that he's that same God that did that, watching you. He the same God that took you from here to there. So I know he could do it.
You know, I want to, man, that's such powerful word. Working with men, and
I know where you're going. I knew we was gonna get here.
So working with men, you work with some good brothers, and I'm not talking about, that's just what I like to call men, good brothers. How did you balance? Because people always ask, and again, I'm bringing this up because people always ask you, like, how was it working with Jay? Was he this? Was he that?
You tell it like they say it.
Yeah.
Tell it like they say it. That's not what they say. You know what they say.
Like, people always try to wonder, most of my managers and people that I work with have been women, Black women. And this is why I love sisters, because they have supported not only my work, but they poured into me when I couldn't, do it for myself. But it was always this thing as if you can't have platonic relationships or friendships. And people were always like, you know what I mean? Is there something going on? And da 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 da. And if you could just speak to that, because
You sure?
yeah, like go in. And because I think there's something to be said about the integral approach
Yeah.
that you have had throughout your career, because you work with a lot of masculine men
Yeah.
in the spaces of entertainment, in the spaces of faith-based. Like, you work with a lot of men.
So I think the biggest thing, first off, is just me separating the two. Like, am I blind? Women would always, when I worked with you, for instance, people always ask me, Jay, fine, you wouldn't hit that just like that. Like, that's what they say. He tried to sugarcoat it, but we're gonna tell the truth, shame the devil. I'm like, yeah, no, am I blind? No, I see all the men I work with, even the men that work with other people that I work with. Okay. That's one part of my summer where I fly in a lot of men. I ain't blind and I'm not gay. No shade to the gay. But I see what I see. But for me, when you're working, the work supersedes how I feel. I never wanted to build my businesses on my back. I'll say that respectfully. And in addition to that, when God generally puts me working with someone because of who I'm called spiritually, it's always bigger than me just doing your books or business or whatever. So it's an assignment. And you know my rule. You do not smash the assignments. Now, me being real, I've done that. It felt good. However, it killed me pretty much because there was a moment where purpose started to look like love. There was a moment, and I engaged in that prior to my celibacy. I enjoyed it. That's me being honest. But you then realize that you have dishonored God. You felt good. You enjoyed what the flesh was looking for because, we work closely, late nights, early mornings, and everybody loves the godly Krystal, until I get a little savage and like, oh, she crazy. But there was moments where that happened, and I, after understanding what was my fatherly issues and all those things, and I managed that, then I realized how the devil walked me into that. He opened the door and I gladly walked in. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not one of them Christians. But working with you was like my do-over, right? Because I I always now ask God, show me who your children are from your perspective. If I see you in God's perspective, I'm no matter how close we get, I'm not gonna sleep with God's son who needs healing. But if I keep seeing you as a man who's chocolate and look good and you got a couple of dollars, because now my clients ain't broke now. And Krystal love a man with dollars. But I'm not going to look at you from that perspective because I'm on assignment. So I have to stay focused on assignment. So no different than I wouldn't sleep with a coworker. I'm not going to sleep with a client. And whether they paying me or not, I'm not going to sleep with an assignment because what I need from God is bigger than my need to enjoy myself. I'll say it like that because we on when we talking private, that's different. But I've had to, that's part of the management of self.
That's good.
That you got to put self in perspective. Like, hey, girl, we're not doing that. Because if you're grown and you have already dealt with that part of yourself, let's be honest, in church, they don't tell you your body going to start talking. They like, that's a sin. You're going to hell. But what you do when it purrs and, the dog want to take a walk? Nobody talks about that. That's like, it's an issue. It's a thing. And you have to be willing to put that thing under subjection. And sometimes I don't care how many scriptures you quote to your body, it is not coming under subjection by quoting the scripture. And the pastor be up there telling you what not to do, but he go home and tear it down because he got a spouse. So you have to find your self accountability. And I have to put what I know God wants me to do and what I know he has for me on the other side of this higher than my need to enjoy myself. And I did enjoy myself that time. I did. But after I enjoyed myself, the conviction, the whip, because that was somebody that I had something spiritually that for them, but I gave them something else. And it broke the connection because at that point I'm like, yeah, we can't, sorry. So I think, in the era of I'm looking for my Boaz, because a lot of my queen sisters, when you ask them how they're doing, they're telling me they're looking for their Boaz. Not that I don't understand, but I do respect it. I think if we put what God wants us to do before our need for a relationship and connection and our desire to be with someone, I think we would get a lot done faster, and then God could give us those things.
Wow.
I said it nicely.
I just wanted you to cook, and that's exactly what you did. You heated the stove, put the water on the pot, it got to boiling, and man, you did what you were supposed to do. Being at that place and learning that lesson, and what would you say to the woman that's trying to navigate her walk, business, and womanhood?
Be honest with yourself and give yourself grace because we do mess up. You see how we just talked about my mess ups? I stand on that, right? I take this thing from Eminem in the 8 Mile. When he told his opponent the issues that he had within himself, his opponent had nothing against him. The devil can't play with me with what I did wrong because I tell him myself. And I always tell people be honest about where you at because even though I practice celibacy, there's never a moment where I can't say that I might jump on something. I can't say that. I wouldn't lie about that. I'm honest. I don't, oh my God, the Virgin Mary. Like, no. I think if women just be honest with themselves, give themselves grace, and just continue to walk their walk day by day like we did and didn't give up, I think they'll be fine.
No,
Life, I think a lot of times life is just life and we have to treat it as such. I feel like sometimes we make it harder or bigger than what it
yeah, we
is.
do. We do.
So just keep it light, keep it cute.
Yeah, we do. Man, Krystal, like this is so rich, and I'm just sitting here processing because when you said earlier, I want to go back to something you said, man, we get to see this on the other side. Because I could tell you when we first started 10 years ago, because it was 2015, 10 years ago, and this is 2025, and to see where I'm at, I just want to say publicly, thank you.
To God be the glory. I
Like,
never knew we would get. I knew what you would be, but here's the thing: your gift don't work for you. So I didn't see me; I saw you.
you know, me, because I didn't know I was me.
Mm.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I had no clue. I can see myself now, even when I met you, just as lost as I was and just as lost as I want to be. Just not knowing, searching, but not knowing what I'm looking for. Lost, but not knowing that I need to be found. Confused, but wanting to be understood. Just all of the things. And all I kept asking for, I do remember this prayer that I prayed before I met you. I kept saying, God, send me a man.
Mhm.
And he sent me you. And he sent you because there was parts of me needed to be healed with my mother wounds. Because listening to you, I had to surrender not only to God, but I had to surrender to the space. Because my healing journey was that sometimes I didn't want to listen to mama because there was a barrier because of what had happened. And I felt like, can't tell me nothing. In fact, I don't want to hear what you got to say. And the relationship and the friendship and us working together, it helped heal that. And I didn't know that it was needing to be healed until I moved to Dallas and I had to see my mother often.
I remember that. You used to call me.
I didn't know because as long as I was away from her, I didn't have to deal with it. Yeah, it's just a phone call. But now you got to face it. Now you have to, and I'm not saying this about my mom, but I'm saying this putting somebody that's my shoe. Now you have to face your accuser. I mean, the person who violated you. Now you have to face the uncle. You got to face the cousin. You got to face the aunt. Now you have to face these very people who I don't think some was intentional, some unintentional, but you got to face the people who cause hurt. And man, that thing was so hard for me to work through. And I just remember you telling me that, hey, you have to heal this in order for God will to be done in your life. Because I don't believe I'm sitting here today if I don't resolve that with my mom.
Yeah. What I appreciate though is that your mom was willing to go on the journey. That's not my story. There is no, I had to heal without the conversation. I had to heal without somebody asking me for forgiveness.
Mm.
And many people have to have that healing where the other person or people don't say, because they would have to go back to a place that they're not ready for.
Yes.
And my brothers and I talk about that. We had a conversation about it last week. For that very reason that they're younger than me, so they're having a hard time. Well, one of them is having a hard time with that process and trying to walk him through the fact that we may never get that,
Yeah.
and you got to be okay with that. But I did it for my kids, and my hope is that they understand in time some of the decisions I made, and they're grown now, so they're getting it slowly but surely. But I'm proud of you for taking that step, and the men that have been healed and will be healed because you did the work is astronomical.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I can do is exhale, because I still wake up and just like, man, I don't know how I made it to the other side.
To whom much is given, much is required.
And nobody knows what's required.
We don't even know we walk in it. You sometimes don't know until I hit you in the face.
No. All you know is you've been given, but you don't know what it's going to require.
And the higher you get, the more is required.
The more it's required. In closing, what is healing for you, Krystal?
Every day, a journey, peace, an opportunity to get it right again. The understanding of knowing that he that begin a good work and you shall complete it till the day he returns. So I don't have to fight to feel like I have to be perfect every day, because as long as I wake up, it's an opportunity to change and heal some things.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I love that. She's okay with waking up every day knowing that I get to do it again. I get a fresh start. I even get to just be again. I love this thing that I told these men in DC recently. Gideon told God everything that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he was challenging God every time. God, show me this and show me that. He wanted all these miracles. If only if he could have just realized that he was the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And for you that are listening, that are watching, you are the miracle. If you woke up today, you're watching this, you're hearing my voice, you are the miracle. You don't need another sign. That's the sign right there that you are alive, and you have another opportunity to heal, to get it right in whatever way that you decide to do that. And I'm hoping that you stay on your healing journey. Again, it's not linear. It's not going to be 6 months. It's not going to be a year. For some, it may take longer, and for some, it may be shorter. But however long it takes you, stay with the process, because you're worth seeing what's on the other side. And that is my encouragement to you. Again, thank you to my good friend Krystal for coming on the Just Heal with Dr. J, joining the healing community. And remember, subscribe. Each and every Tuesday, we have new episodes. The visuals drop on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until next time, remember, healing is a journey and wholeness is the destination.